All right, all right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Embracing Joy podcast, where we help high achieving professionals embrace more joy in their professional and their personal lives. And I'm so excited to introduce our next guest with us today, and she's going to talk about holistic wellness. We have Dr. Noemi Adame. Um, Hi. We start with a little game sometimes. So it's a just a warm up game
Yeah.
from improv because I do improv comedy. So the game is called
Awesome. Yeah.
the game is called Convergence or Mind Meld.
Mhm.
So you will say the first. We both say the first word that comes to our mind at the same time, and
Uh-huh.
then after that, we see if we can connect those two words with a common word until we finally say the same word at the same time, so
Oh
that our
my. Okay.
I think it's best just to play it. So on the count of three. So one, two, three.
Tree.
I
Oh.
said lake and you said tree. Okay, so something that puts a tree and lake together.
Mm.
Um, one, two, three.
Nature.
Oh, lake house. I thought for some reason I thought lake house and
No,
nature.
I actually thought about lake house. It like crossed my mind. That's like,
It's okay. So lake house and nature, something that puts those two together.
Mhm.
Mm, one, two, three. Views.
Vacation.
I put okay, vacation. I was thinking that earlier. And views. I put views.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So vacation and views together.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Three, one, two, three. Mountain.
Mountain. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. See, so our minds kind of meld. So let me give you all the introduction, of the bio of Dr. Adame because I want you all to know more about who you're talking to today. So she's the Veggie Over Pills doctor. She's a board certified pediatrician and holistic wellness advocate. She owns Culver Pediatrics Center, which is a direct care practice that
Mhm.
blends lifestyle and integrative medicine in the care of complex pediatric conditions, including conditions such as PANS and PANDAS.
Mhm.
He is the author of Brain Boosters and a wellness column in the Culver Citizen. And beyond the exam room, in addition to all of that, he leads wellness retreats for women physicians to build and maintain joyful, sustainable practices. Wow, how do you have time? So it's
I
such
have
a
a great
pleasure.
team.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah.
That's so important. So it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm super excited to be here. Like I was telling I just love the name of your podcast and its purpose and
mhm.
so needed, so
Yeah,
needed.
thank you. So you have built your practice to integrate both lifestyle and the holistic medicine.
Mhm.
Um, what inspired the Veggie Over Pills philosophy, and how has it transformed not just your patient's life, but your own approach to joy in medicine?
You know, my parents were from Mexico,
Mhm.
and when I was growing up, my mother treated us with home remedies. You know, whenever my sisters or I got sick, or really when any of our family members got sick. So I did start medical school, I think, with a bit of a more open mind towards
Mhm.
holistic complementary medicine than my peers. I always gravitated towards the crunchy side. But early in my career, there was not a lot of room to explore these holistic and integrative approaches. Certainly not when I was a hospitalist, when I started my career, or over the 5 years that I spent in the outpatient corporate medicine world. When I finally opened up my own direct primary care practice, I finally had the freedom and the time to learn and immerse myself in that world. So I did a lot of CME through the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and the Andrew Weil Institute of Integrative Medicine on the management of ADHD and autism. And I was able to integrate that knowledge into my Western training also. The impact has been incredible on the health of my patients and their families, anywhere from, oh, wow, my kids are not constipated anymore, to, even little things like, oh my gosh, they actually ate some broccoli. They actually ate a vegetable. And tangible metrics like improvement in body metrics and cognitive health and behavior, cardiometabolic markers like lipid profiles and hemoglobin A1C. And so for me as a primary care pediatrician, it has brought me so much joy because I'm not just doing sick care anymore. And that was one of the reasons I was really burning out in the corporate world, because doing sick care was just doing sick care was demoralizing. Even as a corporate outpatient doctor, I never felt like I was truly helping families make meaningful lifestyle changes because I didn't have the time. In 10-minute visit, you don't have time to build connections. You don't have time to build the trust. Now I have time. I can schedule a visit for 2 hours if I want to, or 45 minutes. And so it just, I have the time, not just in the exam room, but also through community-based wellness initiatives that my clinic sponsors. Like, for example, we sponsor a free weekly yoga in our community that anybody can come to in the local library. And we also have a program called Camp Veggie, which I'm not going to take credit for this. This is completely spearheaded by our Nurse Becca. It's a program kids ages 5 to 16 where they learn about the connection between earth, food, and health. There's no way that we could have done, or I could have done anything like that when I was in the world of corporate medicine. So it really has brought me so much joy and rekindled my love of medicine to be able to do things like that.
Wow, that's wonderful. Has it changed how you care for yourself as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I was a vegetarian since I was a resident, and then became a vegan in 2018. Um, but really the change from going from ethical vegan, where I was still eating like, vegan chicken nuggets and that kind of thing, to actually going plant-based. The the impact on my gut health, my cardiometabolic health, things like joint pain, brain fog, all of that was just incredible. So, really, it was a convergence of my professional and personal life, like a lot of things. And so I felt like when I saw the difference in my own health, I felt, okay, at this point, I'm irresponsible as a doctor not to teach my patients about lifestyle medicine, when you see these improvements.
Wow. It sounds like the way you practice and you're able to spend time and do wellness visits and lifestyle visits rather than just only sick visits. But when you're caring for children with complex conditions, it can still be emotionally intense, because they have conditions like PANS or PANDAS where the
Right.
treatment options may be few. How do you protect your energy and stay grounded in joy while caring for, sick children?
Right. So I think there's 3 prongs to this approach, and I've been practicing for over 20 years as a doctor, and had my own primary care practice for about 5 years, and taking care of, and those about 3 years have been where the community of complex patients has found me. So by no means am I going to say that this, that I was born having this knowledge. It really has been years of process improvement. And really it's 3 prongs that are needed to be able to take care of high labor intensive families and do it well and with compassion and kindness, at the same time as you said, protecting my own energy and my own health. The first one is my own mindset change. I used to be a hospitalist. I was a hospitalist for a little over 8 years when I first started my career. And so I did have this innate mindset when I first opened up my practice that every request was urgent. Every request had to be fulfilled within a few minutes. And as I got busier, clearly that was not sustainable. And so it has taken me a lot of time and working with my own mindset coach to free myself of that toxic culture and to really differentiate between true and false urgencies and to get and to ditch that guilt of oh my gosh, there's this text in my inbox and it's been 10 minutes and it's been an hour and I haven't responded to it. Um,
Mhm.
but it might not be something that's urgent,
Mhm.
not an immediate threat to safety, but just healing my own mindset has been key. The second is setting clear expectations for my patients, all about transparency and accountability. And for my founding patients or for my founding families, that has meant doing some retraining and resetting because they were used to, they sent a request for a refill, for example, and I responded within 10 minutes. And that's not sustainable as I've gotten busier in the last few years. So it has meant some retraining and a reset of expectations and boundaries. And, fortunately our families choose us, right? So 99.9% have been completely understanding about this. And then the third is establishing systems and processes that leverage tech and automation so that I have the bandwidth for that personalized aspects of care that cannot be automated, right?
Mhm.
For example, one thing that was a game changer for me was because most of our families text us. We are a very digital practice. We're not the type of practice that you call and someone picks up the phone, and so we communicate asynchronously with our families. And so a few years ago, I switched I added a text auto reply that states if your child is sick, use this link, and the link is provided to self-schedule a same day or next day appointment and to call or leave a voicemail for urgent messages, that I respond to text either the same day or the next day, and that refills will be fulfilled within 48 hours. And so that was a game changer because it relieved my anxiety about having to respond
Mhm.
messages immediately, especially as I got busier in my practice. And the system has worked, and our families are very grateful that they can just schedule an appointment, and they don't have to go. We don't have to be texting back and forth or trying to get information. I do a lot of pre-visit forms so that our visits can be as efficient as possible, and I don't have to worry about playing phone tag. So that's just one example of a system that I implemented um, that improved access, convenience, and quality of care for my family
Mhm.
while
Mhm.
unloading some of that decision fatigue and emotional labor because I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to respond to this right away. If
Mhm.
anything that the family was worried, they just had to schedule an appointment with me, and then I could be fully present during that appointment time and
Mhm.
be able to dedicate the time and attention completely unhindered and so it's little things like that that have really helped using the leveraging the tech and automation have really helped also take away some of the emotion. For example, even scheduling an appointment can be an emotionally charged interaction, right?
Mhm.
By doing self-scheduling, it has taken the emotion out, and now the family can look at the calendar and determine, okay, what is it that I'm able to give up, or
Mhm.
where do I need to make any sacrifices to be able to schedule an appointment, right? And it takes me out of that equation. So tech has been a lifesaver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So with all that being said, it's all of those changes you've made and being able to practice how you would like to practice,
Mhm.
you've been able to create a safe space for other women physicians so
Yeah.
that through the wellness retreats that you've been doing, have you seen any like patterns in physicians who are burnt out? And what's one type of shift or practice that you would recommend for them?
Right. So, as women physicians,
Mhm,
we are at higher risk for burning out than our male colleagues. Studies show that we get 25% more messages from staff and patients. Total, it can average to about 60 messages or more per month. Another more recent study from just last month indicated that we spend more time uh, writing our notes, entering orders, and being more thoughtful in our responses to messages or portal messages for
mhm,
our patients. Um, the same study also unfortunately showed that patients are more likely to send female doctors negative or demeaning messages. And the result, of course, is that female doctors, we are at higher risk for burnout. Another study showed very interestingly that longevity gap that women tend to have over men, not
mhm,
female doctors. We don't
mm,
get that longevity benefit the way
mhm,
the general population does. So, as female doctors, we do have to recognize that we do not have the same job as our male colleagues. It is a completely different job, and we have to practice accordingly. So, for example, one thing that I have advocated for years, and I've noticed that this is more accepted amongst my female direct primary care colleagues, is that we
mhm,
have to price in such a way that we have to keep our practice size smaller than our male colleagues, taking all that information from those studies into account, especially in the direct primary care world where there is no buffer between the patient and or the families and us. And once again, I'll talk about leveraging tech. It takes some of the emotion out of some of the decision making so that we can then expand our bandwidth and be fully present for the things that need that human touch.
mhm.
And I think that we are talking about it more freely. Um, there's less stigma when we talk about these issues.
Mhm.
I think that the more we talk about it, the more we recognize it, it will help to reduce burnout and rekindle our joy in practice and this is something patients want. Patients want us
Mhm.
to be healthy because if we're healthy, that means we can practice for a long time and healthy
Mhm.
doctors translate to healthy patients.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited about leading. We're doing our first female only physician retreat in September here in my little hometown of Culver, Indiana. It's a little town in rural Indiana, but people actually come. We have a lake, and people come from all over the world to
Mhm.
to vacation here and summer here. So I am so excited to share my little town to heal the healers so that they can find joy in their professional and personal lives again.
Mhm. I think that's so, so important, and the statistics, from those recent studies are kind of shocking. But
Yeah,
when you practice as a woman physician, you're not surprised. You're not
surprise.
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not
and for me, it was a bit of a like validation, like, oh, so that's why I was staying longer than, like while everybody left, I was still, when the cleaning crew would come in and everybody was gone and I was still there. Yeah, that's why. So yeah, there was a little validation there.
surprised. Yeah, so definitely, for I think your retreat is something that's needed. So everyone that's a woman physician that's listening, definitely when is it in September? Can you repeat?
September 4th through 7. Yeah, so it starts the evening of September 4th, which is a Thursday. Um,
Mhm.
and we're going to have a massage therapist doing chair massages. We're going to have like a dinner. We're going to have the check-in process is going to be all about starting to make meaningful connections. Then we have 2 full days of a combination. It's kind of like a retreat / conference, you know. There's no CME, but that's for next year. The goal is to eventually add CME, but it is about we focus. Yes, there's some mindset and kind of like the crunchy type events where we're even going to have Dr. Marina Capella come in and talk about self-hypnosis. We're going to talk about mindset change and all that, but we're also going to talk about practical tools to build burnout proof practices.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So when you say crunchy, you mean more like holistic medicine or
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard the crunchy term before, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah, like crunchy granola. Yeah, definitely. There's going to be yoga. We're going to have mindfulness. We're going to have nature walks. You know that kind of thing.
That's great. That's great. So let's go into our wrap-up
Yeah.
questions.
Mhm.
So, doctor, who is a model for joy in your life and why?
All right, I'm gonna try to say this without getting too emotional.
Yeah.
My mother passed away in 2023. So she had a stroke that eventually claimed her life a few days later. But the day that she had her stroke, which I consider that the day that she died, really,
Mm.
never came back. She went on a 3-mile walk with her friends. She baked cookies. She led a Bible study at her church. She worked in the garden. She had lunch with her friends. She did all that. Um,
Mhm.
and we think the stroke happened around 2 in the afternoon. So she had done all of that, you know, and at first I was very like angry because I felt like if she was able to do why did this happen, right? You know, and then I was telling someone this, actually it was a patient's mom, and the mom said, the woman told me, oh my gosh, she had a perfect day. You know
Mm.
what? And I thought, you know what? And so I started looking at it that way, like, yes, as unfair and angry as I had been, that you know, like not understanding why she was able to do so many things, and then she had a stroke. I felt like, you know what? She had a perfect, joyful day. You know,
Mm. Mhm.
her last day were spent doing all the things she loved to do, spending time
Mhm.
with her friends, working in the garden, walking, you know, going out on walks, and you know, and so I want I want to live my life so that whenever my last day is, I
Mhm.
hope I spend it doing the things that I love, just like she did.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. My sincere condolences for your loss, of
Thank you.
course. But she sounds like she was a wonderful woman, and her day was spent also caring for her family and caring for others, and also enjoying nature,
Yep.
which is really wonderful.
Mhm.
So, if you were baking a cake, metaphorical cake of
Yeah.
joy, what are your top three ingredients and why?
So first, family.
Mhm.
You know, that is number one. So, and yeah, my family. It's there can be no joy in my life without my family. Um,
Mhm.
Number two, again, going with that crunchy side, is nature. Even
Mhm.
as a kid, I always felt like this strong connection with nature, and always felt the healing power of being out and connecting with the earth. Um, and so I definitely anything a cake any would include nature in it. You know, it could be on the beach, it could be on the mountain, it could be in the forest, but as long as there is nature, yeah, anything with joy again would include nature. And then the third thing would be coffee. Because in lifestyle medicine, yeah, there's very little vices. There's I eat whole foods, plant-based. In fact, the retreat will my husband is a chef, and all the meals will be whole foods, plant-based. No drinking, no smoking, no none of that, but the one indulgence is my coffee. So any cake of joy would definitely have coffee.
Yeah, coffee is good for you, for most people, unless you have an arrhythmia, coffee is generally something good. Yeah, so that sounds wonderful. This was a great conversation with Dr. Noemi. You can find her on her website, which is www.culverpediatrics.com. You can also find her on Facebook and Instagram, which is at Culver Peds. She's also available on LinkedIn. And if you're interested in the retreat, you can find her at the culverpediatrics.com/DPC Women's Retreat. A little bit, is the retreat mostly for women who have DPC practices, or it's any physician?
Right.
Yeah.
So it is so some of the issues, like we're going to talk about some things like safety and communication that are more in tune with the DPC practice, but you
Mhm.
do not have to be a DPC doctor to join. If you're DPC curious, or if you just, I mean, again, it's going to be a pampering weekend. We're going to feed you, we're going to do massages, we're going to do yoga, we're going to go on walks, we're going to connect. Oh, the women that will attend are just amazing, amazing women. There's going to be, lots of learning. So while some of the issues may be more specific to the practicing DPC doctors or the DPC curious, any female identifying physician is welcome to join us, spend the weekend, and get pampered during that weekend.
Okay. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Share this episode with a friend, especially if you know any woman physicians that needs to hear this too, or is interested in the retreat. And those tuning in to the replay, just make sure that you like, comment, and share as well, and we'll get back to you. Been such a pleasure to have you again, Dr. Noemi.
Oh,
Take
Dr. Majed,
care.
it's been wonderful meeting you.
Take care.